There are a couple of other snakes in Australia considered deadlier because they inject much more poison than this particular
It really started
snake
off with
did.
Dad himself when he was a kid. He used to come from Newtown out to La Perouse on the trams. He linked up with an old snake man that lived out near Prince Henry Hospital, Snaky George. Being keen, he went and caught some snakes, which was very, very easy out here at them days. And he started doing the show. That was in February 1919. The show had been going 112 years now, Christmas 97, 98. This is according to Professor Fox, who kicked it off in the first place. Yeah, well, we was always involved with snakes. George was 10 years older than me. He used to go to some of the showgrounds with Dad when he was a teenager and I was just a kid. I used to travel with Dad sort of more so than George. Every year we'd do trips after snakes together. Well, with Mum, her uncle who reared her from about 11 or 12 on, he was a showman. He was a great showman, Taz, and there was no snake ladies ever been in Tasmania. So they set Mum showing snakes when she was 13-year-old. And then they moved to the mainland and Dad sort of reckoned she was a good sort, and Dad had all the snakes, Taz had all the tents. So they did the first show together. That was in 1924. That was it, that was the basis of the snake show. I worked in the country for years, was always bringing snakes home, and George would catch a few around here when Pop wanted them. And then when Dad passed on in '65, I said to George, what do you reckon? We'll give it a go. That's how we started. That was in '65.
Red bellies are my favourite type of venomous snake. I got a couple of big monsters at home. I only bring them down on a very rare occasion. They're a beautiful snake. They're all around the Sydney area. If he's in your area, think yourself lucky. He likes eating browns and tiger snakes. So while he's in your area, he's working to your advantage. You go killing this beautiful snake and something a little bit more sinister will end up in bigger numbers throughout the years.
Snakes are a tremendous animal. Even when we know them, we think we know them, we don't. There's a lot of things we don't know about them. I can understand people, the way they feel about them. Most people are strongly against snakes and hate the thought of them. You know, I tell them to respect them for what they are and most certainly don't kill them. You know, a lot of people get killed trying to kill the snakes, and you know, some of our snakes will eat the other snakes and eliminate the bad ones for them. That's a point I put across to them. A lot of people are killing those beautiful red-bellied blacks. They're gentle, they don't want to bite you. If you handle them carefully for a little while and that, they'll never bite. You know, when I rode snakes alive, you get a bit of a feeling towards these poor buggers. You know, we had 16 friends of the family that died of tiger snake alone, and there was heaps of them died. But that was in the early days, but even since then, they'll be in a mood one day, they'll bite. I learnt that years ago with a death adder. So that taught me a lesson early in the piece. You can't trust the snake. In my book, Snakes Alive, there's a photograph of my mate kissing his big tiger snake, you know. That's the one that killed him. That, you know, it would never bite, it bit him. What I do down there is normally I show a number of different types of lizards. Across northern parts of Australia we have this magnificent blue tongue. The one you see here is my favourite. It's an alpine one, blotched blue tongue from the mountain ranges of New South Wales. I show the pythons. I usually often like to show a diamond python because I consider that a Sydney snake, which it is. They're found around the escarpment and valleys and creeks, right along the coast. And then I run through the poisonous snakes. I might show an adder, I might show a copperhead, then the red-bellied blacks, the browns and the tigers. Every kid today wants a snake, don't they? How many kids do you know that have got snakes or want them? For identification, I talk about characteristics. Not many bands on that fella's back.
to be bitten by him and assure the authorities you know what you're talking about, it was a brown snake, the anti-venom you possibly could get would be 100% useless.
Like a brown snake will have bands. I got a brown snake which is as black as your camera. You know, and people to be bitten by a brown snake and say, I know it was a black snake, and you convince the doctor, you know, you're giving them, they're going to give you the wrong anti-venom. So this is what we try to convey down there. And in Australia, 300 people a year require anti-venom to live on average. 300, that's a scary figure. And 4 times the amount of that would be bitten and don't require anti-venom. You know, a lot of it would be snake bite, some might be snake fright, might be a scratch or something like that, you know, but people get bitten and people don't take precautions. I think every car in the console, if they take their kids somewhere or in their backpacks, should have the pressure bandages and know what they're doing with them. Now, I don't handle the snake so much. Last show, I think it was, I took a good tiger snake down there, and he come way up over my hand, just missed my hand and flew back down again, you know. If I never had a little bit of experience, it would have got me on the wrist. Well, this is not so much entertainment, it is to some degree to some people, it's educating them that don't think you can hold a snake by the tail, because there's never been a person born that's superior to a snake, you know. I had a brown snake once, hit me in the forehead and bit onto my glasses somehow or other, and my glasses are hanging down. I used to have cord around them, you know, and got him in the bag and put my glasses back on, and I had to go and say to some mate, is there any blood marks there? I didn't know whether he'd bit me because they don't hurt, you know.
We have maybe 10 different types of deadly snake when they're as long as the wire between my thumb that are capable of killing, and a lot of them do, that big. Because a friend of mine was bit between the fingers a few years ago, and he went into cardiac arrest in 1 minute from that bite, I'm told. He was lucky his wife kept him going until the ambulance got there in 12 minutes.
Most certainly now, people are much more educated, and a lot of people are concerned about snakes' welfare, and they ask sensible questions, you know, whereas in the past, I just think it was just entertainment, and they didn't want to be educated to some degree. I've never ever considered any of my reptiles as a pet. They're just a way of life, and you know, I respect them for what they are, and there's no reason I can see why I'd want to give a snake a name. You might give a dog or a cat a name, you can call your dog, he recognises his names, but I'm pretty sure the snake will never recognise his name, he won't hear. But, you know, I've had people call their snake Princess and all these different things. Yeah, snake's a snake. Yeah. I never ever thought I'd ever finish while I was still walking. That was sort of implanted in my mind. I knew while I could still do snake shows, so I'd do them. But now the show's finished, you know, everyone said, what's it like now you're retired? I was 4 hours a week I've retired, that's Sunday afternoons. And then I was getting a little bit careless in the snake house, just leaving cages open, and it wasn't age, it was just, every snakeman does it. Every snakeman leaves a cage open now and again. And so I said, well, that's it, I'll get rid of the snakes. And none of my family will ever take on the snakes at Lapa, unfortunately. It's okay, I've got my safety boots on, see?
Yeah, right.
That's okay.